So, everyone listening right now, I want you to hear Jay for a second. This is one extremely intelligent guy, and you're not a doctor, but I would say you have the level of a doctor when it comes to a lot of the books you're reading. You guys don't know this actually. Jay, how many books did you read this year?
72.
So Jay's read 72 books. So when he's dropping
I
a
want to talk
lot
about
of
that too.
yeah, well, there's some. We're gonna have like lots of conversations with Jay. Jay has so much knowledge. You see as he's pulling out examples, like he was talking about Alexander the Great earlier, right? So, but what I want you to listen from this conversation, especially for my medical student listeners, physician listeners, people who are burnt out and are just looking for some new, fresh energy, listen to the fact that he's saying what it's not the story itself, and actually I think I heard a video with you talking about it too. It's the little bits where your mind goes off as you're listening to the story, where you're like, there's an idea that comes to you, that imagination, that creativity that came from you from that moment. That's something that's really special and important. It's that imagination.
Based on what we know about the
Yeah,
brain, because we don't know enough about the mind to actually define it, by the way. But
yeah,
based on what we know about the brain and what happens when stories are told, it correlates to the cause of the effect, which is an idea. And ideas inevitably shape habituation, which create our objective reality. That's why knowledge is not finite; it's infinite.
yeah,
So, and so, like when you bring up the book thing,
yeah,
that's just an arbitrary expression of we don't know, because that's not what's important. It's that when you read, you're potentially, just like this conversation, no one needs to agree with anything. The point is to not. It's just to grapple with what you're hearing. So maybe you have a thought that through your worldview, based on everything that's ever happened, like two little neurons bouncing off together, we think of something like I can learn from you. Like
yeah,
we're learning together.
yeah,
Because knowledge is subjective and we make it objective with the skill and the judgment.
right.
So my point is, based on reading is just a conduit, like a workout of abstraction. It's
Yeah,
like you read something, well, you don't want to just agree with the author, because then, like Carl Jung said, ideas have people. People don't have ideas. Well, to have an idea, you have to read what is said and then think about it and have a conversation.
yeah,
And that's what humans have been imparted based on biology. Like, we're lucky. We can do that.
yeah,
Like, your cat can't. Keeps bumping into things over here.
yeah, yeah.
They can't
I
read a
actually haven't
book
been
and
paying
then
attention to the cat.
and then have a. So the point is, the reading part is just the work. I think Epictetus said this. This is not verbatim, but the book is the workout or the weight room of the mind.
Yeah,
But you're not memorizing the book. You're having a conversation with the author.
and I loved what you said there, because I think, and unfortunately, I see this a lot with medical students. So I do want to make this comment. It's not okay to be agreeable for the sake of being agreeable. Like, just because you're listening to someone of authority, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to agree with everything they said. What you're saying is that conversation is, do I actually agree with this? Yes, no. If not, why not? Or what am I getting out of this, right? Like, it's like the critical reading skills of going a little bit deeper into the content. And that's where you find the magic, right? It's that extra layer of what you're saying, the abstraction, where your mind goes off and then is able to develop new meanings from that maybe even the author didn't get.
A great example right now would be in the medical field, based on everything that is known, I'm sure, up to this point, taking action on a remedy for an ailment, if that's the best action that we know that solves that problem, then at that level of abstraction, that is the best damn thing we can do. But it doesn't mean that we stop asking questions for how it could be better, because
Right.
that is what education actually embodies, is that the answer comes from within. Well, the answer comes from the thoughts, and the thoughts come from the asking of the questions and not letting ideas have us. And part of the ripple effect, because it's a cause or an effect that's from a cause, and that cause would be how information is and how people inculcate themselves in the collegiate studies to learn the tacit knowledge necessary to be the best doctor, for
Right.
example, or the best whatever, is that ecosystem can create head down conscientiousness and not disagreement or abstraction. And when I say disagreement, it doesn't mean negative connotation. It
Yeah.
could mean empowering of each other's truths. Like if
Yeah.
you just start all of a sudden disagreeing with everything I'm saying and being aggressive about it, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But the power of me genuinely listening to you and shutting up and
Yeah.
being present in your word,
Yeah.
we can develop together. And that's the human condition stands on that.